What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the BS Show with Brett and Steven here. We dropped a video a couple weeks ago about the one and only Nick Diaz returning to action against Jorge Masvidal. Well, recent things have came out that Nick Diaz said, in a nutshell, screw the UFC. They're not paying me what I'm worth. I'm not going to fight for chump change. And supposedly he never signed to the fight, according to Nick Diaz. So
surprise.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. So this has been a common theme with both Nick and Nate and over the past couple years. Nate was supposed to fight Dustin Poirier, and why did that fight?
Dustin got hurt, so that's not Nate's fault, because I believe
once
they sign, they always show up for the fight.
That's true.
But it's really hard being a Diaz fan, especially Nick Diaz. I love the Diaz brothers. I'm from Stockton. But these guys just, I don't know, they just don't want to fight. If you follow him on Snapchat.
I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, whatever. We've been sending his stuff back and forth because the dude's just like in a weird place in his head. You could tell he's like drinking whole bottles and just like being, drunk and talking smack, and he's making like little gun signs to his head, and he's just in a dark place, you could tell.
Well, one thing I did notice, I don't know if anybody follows the Florida boy on Instagram. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's big time in the jiu-jitsu world. His name is AJ his last name's weird. It's like Algazaram or something like that. Anyways, it's the Florida boy on Instagram. Well, he just signed with Bellator. So he's going to be fighting in Bellator moving forward. Well, him and Nick Diaz have been hanging out a lot. So I kind of was hoping him hanging out with this guy, they're going to get back on track. He just signed a deal with Bellator, so he's going to be motivated to train, which will maybe get Nick motivated to train. It hasn't done the trick. Every time I look on Instagram, they're in Vegas, they're in some broken down house drinking, and it's sad.
They're filming some girl who doesn't want to get filmed and like making, comments like we fucked her, what I mean? Like, it's just cringy. It really is.
Well, and I love Nick Diaz. He loves Nick Diaz. Our channel is from Lodi and Stockton. Steven lives in Stockton. We filmed a bunch of videos in Stockton, and Lodi is like 8 miles away. So we're literally within an arm's throw from the Diaz brothers at all times.
Well, they went to school in Lodi. A lot of people think they went to school in Stockton, but they went to school in Lodi, even though they lived in Stockton.
Yeah. I drive by the Nate Diaz. I'm not surprised. That's painted downtown Stockton. I drive by that almost every day. So, they're right here in our wheelhouse. So there's no bigger fans than Steven and I. We're not talking smack. We genuinely love these guys. We want them to get back in the ring. My personal opinion, I feel like these guys' prime is going to slip away, and then they're going to look back and say, what the hell? Nate Diaz was supposed to fight Poirier. He's been waiting for that big payday because he got a big payday with Conor McGregor. But unfortunately, not everybody is the draw that Conor McGregor is, And with Nick Diaz, I don't know what Nick Diaz is thinking. I wish I could get inside the mind of Nick Diaz and know, but these two are all world talent kind of guys.
I just don't think Nick Diaz wants to fight, to be honest. I think he wants the money, and he wants to get paid what fighting does pay you. You know what I mean? It's huge. Those guys can get paid a lot of money, but they just think they want to get paid millions and millions every fight, but you kind of got to prove yourself. Don't get me wrong, the Diaz brothers are a draw, and I think they deserve, like, up there. With all the fighters in the UFC, they deserve the top, like, notch money that you can make from the UFC. They deserve that now. Maybe not Conor McGregor money, but second tier to that. You know what I mean? But
You think maybe Dana White has an issue with them, and that's why he's not willing to pay him?
He definitely has an issue with them. Let's put it this way: Nate Diaz made versus what's his name? He fought the black
Michael Johnson.
Michael Johnson, yeah. He only got paid $20,000 for that fight. 10 to show, 10 to win.
That's ridiculous.
Can you believe that?
And
these
ridiculous.
guys are draws. So yeah, there is some disagreement on what they should get paid.
Yeah.
But
so do you think that they're pulling the whole I'm going to hold out until I get my payday?
I think they just don't want to fight. Nate wants to fight. I think Nick he's over it.
Yeah. Well,
he's over the
these
media.
guys have been doing this forever. So you can't really blame a guy. If Nick were to just come out and say, "Look, I don't like training camps. I don't like cutting weight." Could we really blame the guy?
Dude, the guy's living his best life. Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
Let's just put it this way. I go to Buffalo Wild Wings in Stockton, and I'll talk to a waitress, and like we'll get talking. This is before I had a girlfriend, and then she would tell me like that she hooked up with Nick Diaz. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, who hasn't hooked up with Nick Diaz? I'll follow someone from high school on my Instagram and I'll see liked by Nick Diaz, liked by Nick Diaz. The dude's just going out there like just slaying puss and fucking drinking and smoking weed, you know?
Well, here in downtown Lodi where I live, I go downtown Lodi all the time. I've ran into both Nick and Nate downtown, and I've went up and, got a picture with them and, tried to fight them. They backed down, but it's not a big deal. Just kidding. But, we have genuine love for these guys, and they're exciting fighters, and I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're at the top of the heap in Conor McGregor. We know he couldn't handle Nate. I think Nate beat him both times. I don't care if you're at the top of the heat like, damn it, when Nick came back.
Anderson Silva?
I don't care if you're Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva was literally, granted he just snapped his leg in half, but he didn't run through Nick Diaz. So no matter who you are, no matter how good you think you are, you're not going to run through these guys. And for Dana White to not pay these guys, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not saying that is. We don't know the whole story.
Yeah, we don't know what they're getting paid, honestly.
We're trying to figure out why these guys aren't fighting. Because, like I said, they're both in the prime of their careers. They're both well-known fighters. They're both black belts in jiu-jitsu. Neither one of them has ever been knocked out other than, I think Nate took a head kick by Josh Thompson and got TKO'd after some ground and pound.
Nick's been knocked out too. I can't remember by who, but he's been knocked out once early in his career.
These guys are tough, and they take the fight to them. These guys are not afraid to fight. They're not afraid to get dirty. They're not afraid to stand and bang. So
whenever they get beat, they usually get outpointed because they're fighting their own fight.
Yes.
They're there to fight, but
they don't lose because they lost the fight. They lose because 3 people that were watching said they lost the fight.
I still think to this day Nick Diaz beat Carlos Condit in that fight, personally. I don't know if you remember it, but
I don't remember it. I'd have to rewatch
Carlos Condit ran the whole time. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, we want to see these guys back, and it really, Steven and I actually talked about it over the weekend. We're hurt when we see, Nick Diaz just getting smashed every night because supposedly, up until today, we thought he was supposed to fight Jorge Masvidal.
And it sucks seeing that they have a fight set and getting your hopes up, and then something happened. The Dustin Poirier getting hurt, that's out of anyone's control. You know what I mean? But Nick Diaz, he could easily sign this fight, and that would be a fun fight versus Masvidal.
Yeah.
They're both kind of gangster. They both have that stand up. That would be a really fight, and it's well suited, tailored to Nick Diaz. Yeah. He wants to fight someone who wants to stand up with him.
And Masvidal would. Masvidal's a straight up killer. He got his fame on YouTube with freaking Kimbo Slice. Yep. So, we're genuinely upset. We want to see these guys get back in the ring, or the octagon, sorry. If we had any thought of what could be going on, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is maybe there's some inner demons we don't know about.
Definitely inner demons.
Maybe their contract.
If you follow him on Instagram, you could tell there's just some sadness, some darkness. He just never seems happy, you know? How often do you see him smiling?
Never. Honestly, I saw him smile in a picture on Instagram, and I was actually kind of like, wow.
And that might be my picture with him. I think he's smiling in it. Let me find that.
That's funny, but so we just wanted to do a quick video on what's going on with the Diaz brothers. We really hope they get back into the octagon and fight. I like both of them. At least we know when they fight, it's going to be exciting. With the recent news that both of them were getting back in the octagon, we were so pumped. We were doing fight predictions and stuff, and then for this to happen, it's pretty devastating. So I guess we'll find out what happens. But anyways, that was our rant on the Diaz brothers. If you guys know what's going on with the Diaz brothers, why they're not fighting, or if you have any insight on what could possibly be wrong, let us know.
What are your thoughts? Because I know most of the MMA community loves the Diaz brothers, but what do you think about this hiatus, or what they're doing? Nick's just out partying always. That's all his story is. What do you guys think about that? Are you okay with it? Do you think, live your life, do your thing? You don't want to fight, you don't want to fight. Even though he talks smack about everyone fighting, so there's some sort of competitiveness inside him, you could tell.
Sorry to cut Steven off. He just said, I think it was on the Ariel Helwani show, but he said something. He was quoted. He said he would run through Tyron Woodley. So it's still there. But I think that's where the disconnect with Nick and the UFC is. Nick thinks he's going to come back and get a title shot. UFC saying, no, you need a couple fights first. And that's where the fall apart is. So you have Nick and Nate saying, we want millions to fight. And Dana White's going, no, you haven't fought in 2 or 3 years. You need to get back in there.
It's bullshit, though, when CM Punk is getting paid more than Nick and Nate. Or frickin', what's his name that just signed for one? Sage Northcutt. You know
no,
what I
I
mean?
agree. I agree.
They deserve, they're definitely top tier fan favorites. You know what I mean? They deserve to get paid.
I agree.
So pay them. If they do get paid, are they going to show up? You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Do they want to fight? I don't know.
I guess we'll find out. So hopefully, we get some good news moving forward. Even if it's not in the UFC, but I feel if Dana White cuts them, they're not going to be able to fight because supposedly UFC contracts are like the worst ones in the world to get out of. So at least let them fight in Bellator or one, or let them fight somewhere.
Yeah,
these guys
trade them a one or something.
These guys want to fight, so they just want to get paid what they feel they're due.
Yeah, Nick's fought in Japan before. You know what I mean?
Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. Let us know if you got any information in the comments below.
All right, peace.